The night sky over Montana cracked open with lightning. Rain pounded on the metal roof of Lyra Mackenzie's workshop. She was alone as she liked it, fixing an old tractor engine. Her hands were black with grease, but they moved with care and skill. People said Lyra could fix anything. That's why farmers from miles around brought her their broken machines when no one else could help. Lyra wiped her hands on a rag and looked out the window. The storm was getting worse. Then she saw it, a streak of light too bright and too straight to be lightning. It cut across the sky and disappeared behind the mountains. "That's not normal," Lyra whispered to herself. She grabbed her truck keys and a flashlight. Something told her this was important. The rain soaked through her jacket as she drove up the mountain road. Mud splashed under her tires. The light had fallen somewhere near Miller's Peak, a place few people visited. Lyra's truck headlights caught something shining between the trees, something that didn't belong in these woods. Lyra parked and stepped out into the rain. Her flashlight beam showed a path of broken trees. Something big had crashed here. She followed the trail of destruction, her boots sinking into the wet earth. What she found made her stop breathing for a moment. It wasn't a plane or a satellite. The object was smooth and oval, about the size of a small bus. It glowed faintly blue along strange patterns on its surface. Lyra had never seen anything like it, and she knew every machine made on Earth. "A ship," she said out loud, though there was no one to hear. "Not from here." Part of the ship was broken open. Lyra approached slowly, her heart beating fast. She shined her light inside and saw someone, or something, lying still among twisted metal. The figure looked almost human. A woman, but with skin the color of twilight. A soft purple. Her hair was silver, not gray like old people's hair, but shining silver like polished metal. She wore what looked like armor on her upper body, but below her waist there was a horrible mess of metal, strange technology, and blood of a dark blue color. The woman wasn't moving. Lyra had two choices: leave and call someone, or help now. The woman, the alien, was clearly hurt badly. Who would Lyra even call? The government? They would take the alien away, study her like a lab rat. Maybe worse. "I fix things," Lyra told herself. "That's what I do." She reached into the ship and checked for a pulse. It was there. Strange and with a different rhythm than a human's, but definitely a pulse. The alien was alive. Lyra saw that the lower half of the alien's body was crushed. The metal parts seemed to be some kind of technology that had been attached to her body, now destroyed. With great effort, Lyra pulled the alien from the wreck. She was surprisingly light. Lyra carried her to the truck and laid her in the back seat. Then she returned to the ship and grabbed some pieces of the strange technology that had broken off. They might be important. Back at her workshop, Lyra cleared off her work table and laid the alien down. She cleaned the wounds as best she could using her first aid kit. The alien remained unconscious. Up close, Lyra could see that she had small, delicate markings on her face like tattoos, but possibly natural. Her ears were pointed slightly at the tips. For 3 days, Lyra watched over the alien. She closed her shop and told people she was sick. She cleaned the blue blood from the wounds and wrapped them in bandages. She tried to make sense of the technology that had been attached to the alien's lower body. It seemed like some kind of mobility system, now useless. On the 4th day, the alien opened her eyes. They were deep gold with no whites and had vertical pupils like a cat's. She jerked away from Lyra in fear, then winced in pain. "It's okay," Lyra said, holding up her hands to show she meant no harm. "You're safe." The alien touched a small device on her temple and made some strange sounds. Then, to Lyra's surprise, she spoke in English. "Where am I? Who are you?" Her voice had a strange musical quality, with an accent Lyra had never heard before. "I'm Lyra Mackenzie. You're in my workshop in Montana." "On Earth," she added, realizing the alien might not know what Montana meant. "I found you in your ship after it crashed. You were hurt badly." The alien tried to move her legs and then looked down in horror. "My mobility apparatus, it's destroyed." She looked up at Lyra with fear and anger. "I cannot move." Your legs were crushed, Lyra explained. The technology with them too. I brought some pieces back, but I don't know how they work. The alien closed her eyes for a moment. When she opened them, she seemed calmer. I am Naya, scout of the Valkyrie. Coalition. My ship was attacked. Emergency protocols activated. I did not intend to come to your planet. What attacked you? Lyra asked. Drakari hunters. Ancient enemies of my people. Naya touched her temple device again. My distress beacon is damaged. I cannot contact my people. I am stranded here. Lyra looked at the alien's damaged body. You said mobility apparatus. Were those not your real legs? Naya shook her head. The Valkyrie evolved in low gravity. On most planets, we cannot move without assistance. The apparatus connects to my nervous system, allowing me to walk, run, fight. Without it, I am... She struggled to find the word. In a wheelchair, Lyra finished for her. On Earth, people who can't use their legs use wheelchairs to move around. Then I need this wheelchair until I can repair my apparatus or be rescued. Lyra nodded. I can build you one, but from what I can see of your technology, it's very advanced. I don't know if I can fix it. Naya looked at her with those strange golden eyes. And if my enemies tracked my emergency jump? If they find this planet? A chill ran down Lyra's spine. Are they dangerous? The Drakari consume worlds, Naya said simply. Your Earth would be nothing to them, just another resource to use up. Lyra took a deep breath. Then we better get you mobile again so you can warn your people. And so began the first day of what would become a 10-year journey. Lyra didn't know it yet, but the crashed ship in the mountains would change everything. Not just for her and Naya, but for all of humanity. 6 months passed since Lyra found Naya in the crashed ship. Naya now moved around in a wheelchair Lyra built for her. It wasn't fancy, but it was strong and fit Naya's body well. The workshop became their home. Lyra put a bed in the back room for Naya and slept on a cot nearby. Lyra kept her shop open, fixing tractors and trucks during the day. But at night, they worked on understanding the alien technology from the crash. Naya was smart and knew her own technology well, but she couldn't build it herself. The Valkyrie were masters of growing and changing living things, but they were not as good with machines and metal as humans were. Your people are strange, Naya said one night as she watched Lyra take apart an engine. You are so young as a species. You have barely left your own planet, yet you understand machines in ways my people never have. Lyra smiled. And your people can grow ships that are partly alive and connect them to your bodies. We're different, that's all. They had a deal. Lyra would try to build new legs for Naya using Earth technology combined with the broken pieces from the crash. In return, Naya would share knowledge that could help humanity advance. It seemed fair to both of them, but it wasn't easy. The broken pieces from Naya's mobility apparatus were unlike anything on Earth. They were part machine, part living tissue. Lyra studied them for hours under a microscope she bought with her savings. If the Drakari find your planet, Naya said one evening, they will not come as friends. They will take what they want and leave nothing behind. How would they find us, Lyra asked. She was drawing designs for Naya's new legs on paper. My emergency jump was not planned. It may have left traces they could follow. And now that I am here, my biology is different from yours. If they scan your planet and find signs of Valkyrie life. Naya didn't finish. She didn't need to. Lyra worked harder. She ordered special parts online. She contacted a friend who taught engineering at a university and asked questions without explaining why. She spent every free moment learning and planning. One day, a black car parked outside the workshop. A woman in a dark suit stepped out. She had short brown hair and wore sunglasses even though it was cloudy. Lyra Mackenzie, the woman asked when Lyra met her outside. That's me. Shop's open if you need something fixed. The woman smiled, but it didn't reach her eyes. I'm Agent Olivia Tanner. I'd like to ask you about the lights people saw in the mountains last October. Lyra's heart beat faster, but she kept her face calm. Lights? Probably just lightning. We had a big storm. Interesting. because we picked up an electromagnetic pulse that night. Very unusual. Agent Tanner looked past Lyra into the workshop. Mind if I look around? Do you have a warrant? Lyra asked. Agent Tanner's smile disappeared. Not today, but I can get one if I need to. She handed Lyra a card. Call me if you remember anything about those lights. After the agent left, Lyra rushed back inside. We have a problem, she told Naya. Government people are asking questions. Naya looked worried. If your government takes me, they will study me like a specimen. They might try to use my technology as weapons. I won't let that happen, Lyra promised. But she didn't know how to keep that promise. They became more careful. Lyra built a hidden room behind her tool storage where Naya could hide if anyone came. They only worked on the legs at night with the windows covered. Lyra began buying parts from different places using different names, so no one would notice what she was collecting. Winter came and went, then spring. They made progress slowly. Lyra built a frame for the legs that would support Naya's weight. She created joints that moved smoothly like real knees and ankles. But the hard part was still ahead, connecting the mechanical legs to Naya's nervous system so she could control them with her thoughts. On my world, we would grow connections from living tissue, Naya explained. The connections would join with the body naturally. We don't have that technology, Lyra said, but we have something else. She showed Naya articles about neural interfaces being developed for human prosthetics. We can use electricity to carry the signals from your nerves to the machinery. More months passed. Agent Tanner returned twice more. Each time, Naya hid in the secret room. Each time, Lyra said she knew nothing about any strange lights or electromagnetic pulses. But she could tell Agent Tanner didn't believe her. One night, as they ate dinner, Naya said something that surprised Lyra. I miss the stars. In my ship, I could fly between them. Now I cannot even walk on your ground. Lyra realized that despite living together for more than a year, she knew little about Naya's life before the crash. Tell me about your home, she said. Naya's golden eyes seemed to look far away. My homeworld is called Valkar. It orbits a red star in what you would call the Cygnus constellation. It has low gravity and 3 moons. The cities are built in spirals with buildings that grow from the ground and reach for the sky. It sounds beautiful, Lyra said. It is, but I was rarely there. As a scout, I spent most of my time in my ship, searching for new worlds for my people to visit or settle, and watching for Drakari activity. Do you have family? Lyra asked. Naya nodded. My birth cluster, what you might call siblings. 5 of us were grown together, all became scouts like me. And my bond partner, Kira, she builds ships. You must miss them. Every day. Naya looked at Lyra. If I do not return, they will think I am dead. My bond partner will mourn, then eventually join with another. That is our way. Lyra felt a new determination. We'll get you home, Naya. I promise. The next day, Lyra drove to the mountains where Naya's ship had crashed. Most of it was gone. Now, Lyra had carried away the important parts piece by piece over many trips. But she found a small piece she had missed half buried in the dirt. It had a strange curving shape and seemed to be made of both metal and something like coral. As she put it in her pocket, she noticed fresh tire tracks nearby. Someone else had been here recently. Looking around, she saw a small black box attached to a tree. A camera. Lyra didn't run. That would look suspicious if someone was watching. She walked calmly back to her truck. But inside, her mind was racing. They needed to move faster. When she got back to the workshop, she found Naya looking at something on Lyra's computer. Your people have reached your moon, Naya said. That's impressive for such a young species. We're fast learners, Lyra said. She showed Naya the piece she had found. I think someone is watching the crash site. We need to speed things up. That night they made a breakthrough. Lyra found a way to use the coral-like material from Naya's ship to carry signals from nerves to wires. It worked better than anything human-made could. The piece she had found that day was the missing link they needed. This might actually work, Lyra said, looking at their plans. We can build you new legs that your body will accept. Naya put her hand on Lyra's arm. Thank you. Whatever happens, know that you have done something no one in the known galaxy has done before. Bridge the gap between our technologies. Lyra smiled. We're not done yet. We still have a lot of work to do. Neither of them noticed the small red light blinking on Lyra's computer, showing that someone was accessing it remotely, watching everything they did. 5 years had passed since the night of the crash. The small workshop had changed a lot in that time. Lyra had added new equipment, computers, microscopes, and tools for working with tiny parts. On one wall hung drawings and plans for Naya's new legs, each design more advanced than the last. Naya had changed too. Her silver hair was longer now, and she wore human clothes most of the time. She had learned English so well that she rarely used her translator anymore. She could name all the tools in Lyra's shop and understood how most Earth machines worked. They had tried 3 different designs for the legs already. The first was too weak and broke when Naya tried to stand. The second caused her pain when they connected it to her nerves. The third worked for a few minutes before failing. The problem is power, Lyra explained, looking at the third failed design. Human batteries aren't strong enough to run these legs for long. On my ship, we used crystal cores that collected energy from light, Naya said. But those were destroyed. In the crash. Lyra nodded. I've been thinking about that. What if we use the solar panel technology we have on Earth, but modify it using what you've taught me about your crystals? They began working on this new idea. Lyra ordered special materials and built a small machine to create thin layers of different metals. Following Naya's instructions, she arranged these layers in patterns that reminded her of snowflakes. The work was slow and detailed. Sometimes Lyra got frustrated and had to walk outside to clear her head. Sometimes Naya grew sad, thinking of her home and her people. Do you think they're still looking for you? Lyra asked one night as they ate dinner. Perhaps, Naya said, but the galaxy is vast. Without a working distress beacon, finding one lost scout is nearly impossible. And the Drakari? Do you think they've forgotten about you? Naya's golden eyes darkened. The Drakari never forget prey that escapes them. Their lives fell into a pattern. During the day, Lyra worked in her shop fixing the machines people brought her. At night, she and Naya worked on the legs. They became partners in this project, with Naya providing knowledge about her biology and technology, and Lyra providing the mechanical skills to build what they imagined. One morning, a familiar black car pulled up outside the shop. Agent Tanner stepped out, but this time she wasn't alone. 2 men in dark suits stood behind her. Naya quickly wheeled herself to the hidden room. Lyra opened the door before Agent Tanner could knock. Ms. Mackenzie, Agent Tanner said with her cold smile. It's been a while. Still fixing tractors, Lyra said. Nothing interesting happening here. That's not what our surveillance shows. Agent Tanner held up a folder. You've been buying some unusual materials, visiting the crash site regularly, and your electric bill is 3 times what it should be for a shop this size. Lyra felt her heart racing but kept her face calm. I have some personal projects. Last I checked, that's not a crime. It is when it involves technology not from this planet. Agent Tanner stepped closer. We know you took something from the mountains that night. We know someone else is here with you. Behind Agent Tanner, the 2 men moved to look through the windows of the shop. You're wrong, Lyra said, but her voice wasn't as steady as she wanted it to be. Agent Tanner sighed. Ms. Mackenzie, I'm not here to arrest you. I'm here to talk. May I come in? Alone? Lyra hesitated, then nodded. She let Agent Tanner in, but blocked the door so the men had to stay outside. Once inside, Agent Tanner's manner changed. She spoke more quietly. I know about your visitor, Ms. Mackenzie. I've known for years. I don't know what you're talking about, Lyra insisted. Purple skin, silver hair, gold eyes, not from around here. Agent Tanner looked around the shop. You can tell her she can come out. I'm not here to take her away. Lyra stood still, saying nothing. Agent Tanner continued. If I wanted to arrest, You or capture your friend, I would have brought soldiers, not 2 agents who are currently standing outside. I've been watching you for 5 years, Ms. Mackenzie. If I wanted to act against you, I would have done it long ago. Then what do you want? Lyra asked. The same thing you want, to help your friend get back on her feet and to protect Earth from the enemies she's told you about. Lyra felt cold. How do you know what she told me? Agent Tanner touched her ear. Technology has come a long way in 5 years. We've been listening. The hidden door opened, and Naya wheeled herself out. She looked at Agent Tanner with caution in her golden eyes. You've been watching us, Naya said. It wasn't a question. Agent Tanner nodded. Since the night you crashed, we tracked the electromagnetic pulse from your ship. We've been monitoring ever since. Why not take me? Naya asked. Study me? That's what Lyra feared your people would do. Some wanted to, Agent Tanner admitted, but others saw more value in watching and learning. You two have done amazing work together. Work that could help humanity advance faster than any laboratory study of your biology. Lyra moved to stand beside Naya's wheelchair. So what happens? Now? Now, I make you an offer. Agent Tanner opened her folder and laid some papers on the workbench. Official backing for your project. Resources beyond anything you could access on your own. A proper laboratory. A team of scientists who could help. And in return? Naya asked. When you can walk again, you help us prepare. From what we've overheard, these Drakari are a threat to Earth. We need to be ready if they come looking for you. Lyra looked at the papers. They showed plans for a facility much bigger than her workshop. There were lists of equipment she had only dreamed of having. Who exactly do you work for? Lyra asked. An agency that monitors potential threats to national security. Officially, we don't exist. And unofficially? We're the people who prepare for the things most humans don't know about. Agent Tanner looked at Naya. Things like visitors from other worlds. Naya and Lyra exchanged glances. They had made progress, but the work was going slowly. With more resources, they might finish in years instead of decades. If we agree, Naya said, I have conditions. I will not give your people weapons technology. I will not help you make war against anyone but the Drakari. And Lyra stays with me as the lead engineer on this project. Agent Tanner nodded. Those terms are acceptable. We're not looking for weapons, Ms. Naya. We're looking for protection for our planet. And Ms. Mackenzie's skills are precisely why we've waited this long to approach you. Lyra still wasn't sure. How do we know we can trust you? You don't, Agent Tanner said simply. But consider this. We've had 5 years to take action against you and we haven't. Instead, we're offering help. Lyra looked at Naya, who nodded slightly. We'll think about it, Lyra said. Don't think too long. Agent Tanner gathered her papers. The longer your friend stays on Earth, the greater the chance her enemies will find her. Find us. After Agent Tanner left, Lyra and Naya sat in silence for a while. What do you think? Lyra finally asked. I think she is telling the truth about wanting to help, Naya said. But I also think her people will want more from me than just preparation for the Drakari. So we say no? Naya looked down at her wheelchair, then at the failed leg prototypes on the workbench. We cannot do this alone, Lyra, not in time. If the Drakari find Earth because of me, and I have not done everything possible to prepare your people. She didn't finish. Lyra understood. Guilt was something they both felt. Naya for bringing danger to Earth, Lyra for not being able to fix the problem faster. Then we say yes, Lyra decided, but we stay alert. We don't give them anything that could be used as a weapon, and we make sure they know that getting you home is still the main goal. Naya reached out and took Lyra's hand. Her purple fingers were cool against Lyra's skin. Thank you, my friend, for everything you have done and continue to do. Lyra squeezed her hand. We'll get you walking again. I promise. 2 days later, they agreed to Agent Tanner's offer. Within a week, they had moved to a new facility hidden in the mountains, not far from where Naya's ship had crashed. It had everything they needed: advanced computers, precision tools, materials Lyra had only read about. And most importantly, it had a team of scientists and engineers who brought fresh ideas to the project. None of them seemed surprised to meet an alien. All of them were excited to work on building her new legs. "How long have your people known about aliens?" Lyra asked Agent Tanner one day. Agent Tanner smiled her cool smile. "Longer than you might think, Ms. Mackenzie. Longer than you might think." 9 years had passed since Naya crashed on Earth. The hidden government facility in the mountains had become home to both Naya and Lyra. They had their own living quarters, but they spent most of their time in the main laboratory, working on the legs. The project had grown bigger than either of them had imagined. 30 scientists and engineers now worked with them, each focused on different parts of the complex system. Some worked on the power source, others on the mechanical joints, and others on the neural interface that would connect the legs to Naya's nervous system. Lyra remained the project leader. Agent Tanner had kept her promise about that. But sometimes, Lyra missed her old workshop, where it had been just the two of them figuring things out together. "Final power test today," Lyra said one morning as she and Naya had breakfast in the facility cafeteria. "If it works, we can start integration next week." Naya nodded. Her silver hair was tied back in a ponytail and she wore a lab coat like the human scientists. 9 years in this chair," she said, tapping the arm of her wheelchair. "Sometimes, I forget what it felt like to walk." "You'll remember," Lyra promised. "The body doesn't forget." They went to the lab, where the team was already preparing for the test. The legs lay on a special table connected to computers that monitored their functions. They looked almost human in shape, but they were made of a silvery metal that shifted color slightly when viewed from different angles. Inside them, a combination of Earth technology and adapted Valkyrie systems worked together. Dr. Susan Bell, the head of the power systems team, looked up as they entered. "Morning, Lyra. Morning, Naya. We're all set." "Let's do it," Lyra said. Dr. Bell typed commands into her computer. The legs began to hum softly. Lights along their sides glowed blue, then green. On the computer screens, numbers and graphs showed power flowing through all systems. 100% capacity, Dr. Bell announced. "Holding steady." The team cheered. This was the farthest they had ever gotten. Previous designs had failed at 80% power, overheating or shorting. But Lyra looked at Naya and saw tears in her golden eyes. "We're close," Lyra said softly. "Really close this time." Naya nodded, too emotional to speak. Later that day, Agent Tanner called them to her office. She had aged in the 9 years they had known her. Her brown hair now had streaks of gray, and lines had formed around her eyes, but her gaze was still sharp and focused. "Congratulations on the power test," she said. "The team tells me integration could begin next week." "That's the plan," Lyra confirmed. "Good, because we may be running out of time." Agent Tanner pressed a button on her desk, and a large screen on the wall lit up. It showed what looked like a star map. "Our deep space monitoring station picked this up 3 days ago." She pointed to a spot on the map marked with a red circle. "This is an energy signature we've never seen before. It's moving toward our solar system." Naya leaned forward in her wheelchair. "Show me the spectrum analysis." Agent Tanner pressed. Another button and a graph appeared next to the map. Naya studied it, her face growing pale. "Drakari," she said. "A scout ship from the size of the signature." Lyra felt her heart beat faster. "You're sure?" "I've tracked these ships for most of my life." "Yes, I'm sure." Naya looked at Agent Tanner. "How fast is it moving?" "Our scientists estimate it will reach the edge of our solar system in about 2 months." Naya's hands gripped the arms of her wheelchair. "Then we have very little time. A scout ship means they're looking for something, for me." "Can they detect you from that distance?" Agent Tanner asked. "Not me specifically, but they can detect Valkyrie life signs, and once they're closer they can scan for the specific pattern of my neural signature." Naya looked at Lyra. "We need to finish the legs and get me off this planet before they arrive. If they find me here, they will know Earth harbors a Valkyrie. They will assume you are our allies." And that would make us targets, Agent Tanner finished. Yes. The Drakari do not leave potential threats alive behind them. Naya's voice was grim. They have destroyed entire civilizations for less. Lyra's mind was already racing ahead. We'll need to speed up the integration process. Work around the clock if necessary. Whatever you need, you'll have it, Agent Tanner promised. Just get those legs working. The next week was the most intense of the entire project. The team worked in shifts 24 hours a day. They ran final tests on all systems and prepared for integration, the process of connecting the legs to Naya's body and nervous system. The integration chamber was a sterile room with medical equipment, along with engineering tools. Dr. Maya Patel, the medical expert on the team, would lead this part of the process. It will be painful, Dr. Patel warned Naya the night before they were to begin. We can give you medication, but your body is different from ours. We don't know how much it will help. Pain is temporary, Naya said. I can endure it. Lyra stayed with Naya that night. They talked about small things, funny moments from their years together, the differences between Earth food and what Naya ate on her homeworld, the strange habits of the scientists they worked with. Are you scared? Lyra asked as the night grew late. Yes, Naya admitted. Not of the pain of failure. We have one chance at this. If it doesn't work, it will work, Lyra said firmly. We've thought of everything, triple-checked every connection. This is going to work. The integration began early the next morning. Lyra watched through a window as Dr. Patel and her team carefully positioned the legs for connection to Naya's body. Naya lay conscious on the table, her golden eyes fixed on the ceiling. The first stage was connecting the physical structure, attaching the legs to what remained of Naya's lower body. This took 6 hours of delicate work. The second stage was connecting the power system, allowing the crystal-based energy cells to draw power from Naya's own body's energy field, supplemented by the adapted solar technology. This took another 4 hours. The third and most difficult stage was connecting the neural interface, linking the mechanical systems of the legs to Naya's nervous system so she could control them with her thoughts. This began in the evening and continued through the night. Lyra refused to leave, even when Agent Tanner suggested she get some rest. She stayed at the window, watching as her friend endured hour after hour of what must have been excruciating pain. Naya never screamed, but Lyra could see her face twist in agony as each neural connection was established. At dawn, Dr. Patel emerged from the integration chamber, looking exhausted. It's done, she told Lyra. All connections are active. The legs are responding to neural impulses. Can she move them? Lyra asked. Not yet. Her nervous system needs time to adapt. She's sleeping now. We finally gave her enough medication to knock her out. She'll need at least 3 days of rest before we can try movement tests. But they didn't have 3 days. That afternoon, Agent Tanner called an emergency meeting. The Drakari ship has accelerated, she announced, showing them the updated star map. It will reach the edge of our solar system in 3 weeks, not 2 months as we thought. How is that possible? One of the scientists asked. Nothing can accelerate that fast in space. Nothing human, Naya said weakly. She had insisted on attending the meeting, though she was still in pain from the integration. Drakari ships use gravity manipulation for propulsion. They can achieve speeds your physics says are impossible. Agent Tanner looked grim. Then we need to move up the timetable. How soon can she try to walk? All eyes turned to Dr. Patel, who shook her head. Rushing this could cause permanent damage. The neural pathways need time to stabilize. We don't have time, Naya said. I need to try tomorrow. That's too soon, Dr. Patel protested. It's our only choice, Naya insisted. If I can't walk, I can't get to my ship. If I can't get to my ship, I can't leave Earth. And if I don't leave Earth before the Drakari arrive, your world will be in danger. Lyra put her hand on Naya's shoulder. We'll try tomorrow, but we'll take it slow. Baby steps. The next day, they gathered in the physical therapy room. Naya sat in her wheelchair looking down at the new legs attached to her body. They gleamed under the lights, shifting from silver to blue as she moved. Ready? Lyra asked, standing beside her. Naya nodded. Ready? Two assistants helped her position the wheelchair between parallel bars. Naya gripped the bars, her knuckles turning a darker purple with the strength of her hold. Then slowly, she began to push herself up. The room was silent. Everyone held their breath. Naya's face showed intense concentration and pain as she forced her body to remember how to stand. For a moment she balanced there, half standing, her weight supported by her arms on the bars and partially by the new legs. Then she tried to take a step. The left leg moved forward an inch, then froze. Naya gasped in pain. On the monitoring equipment, red warnings flashed. Neural feedback loop, Dr. Patel said, rushing to check the readings. The signal is bouncing back and forth instead of completing the circuit. Naya tried again, her face now covered in sweat. The leg moved another inch, then stopped again. It's not working, one of the engineers said. Yes, it is, Lyra countered. The leg moved. The system works. We just need to fix the feedback loop. They helped Naya back into her wheelchair. She was exhausted and in pain, but her golden eyes showed determination, not defeat. How fast can we correct the problem? Agent Tanner asked. Standing was just the beginning. Over the next week, Naya learned to walk again. At first, she could only take a few steps before the pain became too much, but each day she pushed herself further. 5 steps became 10. 10 became 20. 20 became walking the length of the room without stopping. Lyra watched with pride as her friend regained her mobility. The legs worked better than any of them had dared to hope. They responded to Naya's thoughts almost as naturally as her original mobility apparatus had, and they were stronger, built not just for walking, but for running, jumping, even fighting if necessary. Your design is remarkable, Agent Tanner told Lyra as they watched Naya practice walking up and down stairs. It combines the best of both worlds, Valkyrie biological engineering and human mechanical ingenuity. It couldn't have happened without the team, Lyra said, or without your resources. True, but the vision was yours. Agent Tanner smiled, a rare, genuine smile. You saw possibility where others would have seen only a broken alien to be studied or feared. While Naya trained her body to use the new legs, other teams worked on preparing her ship for launch. They had moved it from the crash site to an underground hangar beneath the facility years ago. Lyra had helped repair its systems using what Naya taught her about Valkyrie technology. The ship is ready, Naya said one evening as she and Lyra sat in the facility's small garden area. It was the first time they had been able to sit outside together since coming to the facility. Naya no longer needed her wheelchair, and the security team had finally agreed she could go outside now that she was mobile. I could leave tomorrow. Lyra looked up at the stars, trying to imagine which one might be Naya's home. Are you ready to go back? My body is ready, the legs work perfectly. Naya stretched out her legs in front of her. In the moonlight, they gleamed with a soft blue glow along their seams. But leaving Earth, leaving you, that I am not ready for. Lyra felt a lump in her throat. You have to go. The Drakari, No. Naya's golden eyes reflected the starlight. But these 10 years have changed me, Lyra. I am not the same scout who crashed here. You humans have taught me much. Like what? Like how a young species with limited technology can still achieve amazing things through determination and creativity. Like how strangers can become family. Like how someone can give 10 years of their life to help someone they barely know. Lyra shook her head. I know you now. Yes. Now we know each other better than most know their own kind. Naya turned to look at Lyra. That is why I must ask you something important. What is it? Come with me. Lyra blinked in surprise. To space? To your world? Naya nodded. My ship has room for 2. And your knowledge of how these legs work would be invaluable to my people. Think of what we could achieve together. Not just new legs for Valkyrie, but new technologies combining both our world's knowledge. But Earth is my home. And you would see it again. I promise you that. But first, Help me warn my people about the Drakari. Help me show them what humans are capable of. Naya touched the legs Lyra had built for her. These are proof that our species can work together in ways the Drakari could never understand. This could be the beginning of an alliance that could finally end their threat. Lyra looked back up at the stars. She had never imagined leaving Earth. Her life had been simple before Naya crashed, fixing machines, living quietly. But these past 10 years had shown her possibilities she never dreamed of. I'll think about it, she said. The next morning, alarms blared throughout the facility. Lyra ran to the control room where Agent Tanner and her team were gathered around the monitors. What's happening? Lyra asked. The Drakari ship, Agent Tanner said, her voice tense. It's entered the solar system, and it's not alone. We're detecting 2 more ships behind it. Naya entered the room, moving smoothly on her new legs. Show me, she demanded. The main screen showed 3 red dots moving through a map of the solar system. They were currently passing the orbit of Neptune. How long until they reach Earth? Naya asked. At their current speed, less than 2 days, one of the technicians answered. Naya's face hardened. Then I need to leave now. If I can intercept them before they get close enough to scan the planet thoroughly, I may be able to lead them away. Agent Tanner nodded. We'll prepare your ship for immediate launch. 2 hours later, they stood in the underground hangar. Naya's ship gleamed under the lights. It looked almost new after the repairs, its strange organic metallic surface pulsing with soft light. A small group had gathered to see Naya off. Agent Tanner, Dr. Patel, Dr. Bell, and the other key members of the team that had worked on the legs, and Lyra, standing closest to the ship's entrance. Good luck, Agent Tanner said, shaking Naya's hand. Earth owes you a debt we can never repay. I am the one in debt, Naya replied. Without you, without all of you, I would still be unable to walk, still stranded. She said goodbye to each person, thanking them for their help. Finally, she turned to Lyra. Have you decided? Naya asked quietly. Lyra took a deep breath. I'm still thinking. Naya nodded, understanding in her golden eyes. I will give you until the last moment. The ship was ready. The hangar roof began to open, revealing the night sky above. Naya walked up the ramp into her ship, her new legs carrying her smoothly. She paused at the entrance and looked back one last time. Lyra stood watching, her heart torn. This was goodbye to the friend who had changed her life. But was it also goodbye to Earth? As Naya disappeared inside the ship, alarms blared again. Agent Tanner's communicator buzzed. What is it? She demanded into the device. Her face paled as she listened to the response. How many? Where? She turned to the group. The Drakari ships have suddenly accelerated. They'll reach Earth orbit in 3 hours, not 2 days. Lyra felt cold fear grip her heart. Naya needs to know. She ran up the ramp into the ship, finding Naya in the control chamber. The interior was strange, part mechanical, part organic, with surfaces that seemed to pulse with life. The Drakari ships have accelerated, Lyra reported breathlessly. They'll be here in 3 hours. Naya's hands moved over the controls. Then I must leave immediately. If I can intercept them beyond your moon's orbit, I may still be able to draw them away. But your ship is smaller than theirs, and there are 3 of them. My ship is faster and more maneuverable. I don't need to fight them, just lead them away from Earth. Naya looked up from the controls. Lyra, I must go now. Are you coming with me? Lyra hesitated. Earth was her home. Everything she knew was here. But if the Drakari found Earth because of Naya, because of the legs Lyra had built, 3 Drakari ships, Agent Tanner said from behind them. She had followed Lyra up the ramp. That's not a scouting party. That's a hunter team. They're not just looking anymore. They know you're here, Naya. How is that possible? Naya asked. They shouldn't be able to detect me from that distance. Agent Tanner's expression was grim. Unless they picked up the energy signature when you first tested. The legs at full power. That pulse was significant. Naya's golden eyes widened. Then they're not just coming for me. They know Earth has helped me. They'll consider your world a Valkyrie ally now. Which means they'll attack regardless of whether you're still here or not, Lyra realized. Yes. Naya's voice was heavy with guilt. I have brought this danger to your world. No, Lyra said firmly. You warned us. Now we can prepare. Prepare how? Your weapons are no match for Drakari ships. Agent Tanner stepped forward. Perhaps not our current weapons, but we've been studying the technology from your ship for years, Naya. And we've made progress. You told me you weren't developing weapons, Naya said accusingly. We developed defenses, Agent Tanner corrected. Based on the shielding technology from your ship, we have prototypes that might buy us time. Time for what? Lyra asked. Time for Naya to reach her people and bring back help. Agent Tanner looked at Naya. How far is the nearest Valkyrie fleet? With my ship at maximum speed, 3 weeks to reach them, another week for them to mobilize. Naya's face showed her despair. Too long. Then we need another solution, Lyra said. An idea was forming in her mind. The legs. What about them? Agent Tanner asked. The power source, the neural interface, the combination of Valkyrie and human technology. Lyra's words came faster as the idea took shape. We built them to allow Naya to walk. But what if we could adapt the same technology to power your defense systems? The energy output would be much greater than anything Earth technology alone could produce. Is that possible? Agent Tanner asked. Theoretically, yes, Naya said, understanding dawning on her face. The principles are the same. It would require modifying the neural interface to connect to your computer systems instead of my nervous system, and scaling up the power source. How long would it take? Agent Tanner demanded. Lyra and Naya exchanged glances, both running calculations in their minds. 2 days with the full team working on it, Lyra estimated. We don't have 2 days, we have 3 hours. Then we do what we can in 3 hours, Lyra said. We focus on one defense system, not all of them. Get me back to the lab. I need the original designs for the leg's power system. Agent Tanner was already on her communicator ordering the team to prepare the lab. She turned to leave, then looked back at Naya. You should go. Now, reach your people. Bring back help if you can.